Hello, hello, good afternoon. Gosh, it's been a long time since I've done a live. Let's see if you all catch up with me. I am playing with Snowflake Wishes today on a one sheet wonder. If you saw my post the other day, I am pretty up to date with the old Christmas card making. However, it's always good to have extra. So, just being a little bit disorganised, so I hadn't mounted. So do say hi if you are catching this live, and if you're on catch up, then please do let me know that you've managed to catch up. So we've got all sorts of fabulous snowflakes in the Snowflake Wishes bundle. So I'm mounting them all, does not mean they're all going to get used by any stretch of the imagination. And the other thing that has, oh no, still, sorry, get a look at my arm there, that's just arrived. So if I remember, I might try the Snowflake embossing folder. So just before I get going, let us get onto my tablet as well. So it's been such a long time since I've done a live. I'm all out of clunk. So there we go. So yeah, say hi if you are watching me live. Just wait for, there you go, you've just got the intro. So I've chosen lots of pastel, snowy, sort of chilly colours. They're not really chilly colours, are they? But they're gorgeous. So they're the colour mix I'm using. So I've got all the card available to make some card bases, and I've now got all my blocks mounted. Hi Carol, hope you are well. So let's get my purple posy, my Highland Heather, soft sea foam, coastal cabana, seaside spray, which is becoming a Christmas fave for me. Let's get the inks out, let's get tidy in, and let's get going. So we've got quite a range of snowflakes. Don't really know where to put everything. Got so many snowflakes. And what's that? My Misty Moonlight. Not quite got enough space. So let's see. Let's get going. Let's see what we can make. Hopefully we can get at least 4 Christmas cards made this afternoon with this style. So I'm just going to randomly pick. I might do this one in Misty Moonlight. So I think the key thing with a one sheet wonder is get the ink on the paper. Might try just, I'm going to swap the angles slightly on that. I've got a really good choice of snowflakes in this set. So, and I'm going to try just doing a panel across the middle and seeing what happens. So I'm not necessarily having them all touching and not having them necessarily all in exactly the same place. And not really even sure how it might or might not turn out. But we know one thing with a one sheet wonder, it's going to be fantastic whatever. So let's go in with some Highland Heather. Sorry, you're going to keep getting a view of my arm based on the fact I've got the inks. I've had one of those days where I sort of had all the time in the world and then something went a bit wrong. Picked up a couple of little dots there for some reason. A bit too much overzealous inking. Be careful with the inking, Marie. So we can always go in and add more. Show a little bit of coastal cabana. So it's been a bit wet and miserable in Leighton Buzzard today. Has anybody had anything other than wet and miserable weather? I was so lucky with my weather when I was in Devon because it was absolutely brilliant. We had a couple of days of wet, but it didn't stop us, and we had some glorious sunshine. So we're saving the smaller stamps and this kind of little general one for, what's my stamp set? Later. I've just realised I haven't mounted one that's going to be useful. So essentially I'm using the bigger ones and then we're going to use the smaller ones to infill. I've lost them. There they are. God, organisation. I've also got that little one that's going to be quite handy for a little infill, these smaller ones. What should we go with? A bit of balmy blue. Save a smaller one for that area. Let's start doing a little bit of overlaying. Oh, just put that in the wrong colour. I mean, in this you can pretty much use any colour that you quite fancy. Put a few paler. With the purple posy. Start in filling a little bit. And part of my thinking is the upper and lower areas will be great for putting greetings. Let's use this little Bella. Let's try a bit of soft sea foam in this little baby one. Just really subtle little colours, but all coordinating together. Or at least I think they do. Nice quick easy way to fill a sheet. Let's try no, actually let's try this bigger one first. So I'm going to do that. Not going to go as dark as Misty. Actually, I might go Misty Moonlight in a second generation. So just stamping it off so it's not quite so dark. Just to start filling in a few little gaps. So I know I'm extremely lucky to have the full range of Stampin' Up colours. But if you buy darker colours, you can stamp off to extend your range of colours very easily so that you don't have to have every colour. Obviously, if you can justify having every colour, then perfect, but you can just see how it's a slightly lighter shade. Let's pop one on in the, so that's the full dark, and then if I stamp again it's slightly lighter. I may even get a third, and then you get a lighter colour again. Let's try some smaller ones in Highland Heather. Might do some second generations in that one as well. Just building it up. As it suits you, how you feel. Go with the look. Again, you don't necessarily, I get the benefit of looking at how it looks in the real life and then how it looks. I quite like the way this one's bending a bit. I might just bend up there a bit. One of those up there. Get a bit of a what should we go with? Go seaside spray. So it's quite a small snowflake, but you can just see it's shaped just to pop around some of those. Well, I rather like that. So I mean, you could graduate for the size of snowflakes, going from bigger to larger. You can put as much or as little detail in as you like. Quite like the way they curl around that edge. Might do that soft sea foam's rather nice. This is a colour I don't use an awful lot. I guess we can say we've got favourites and least favourites, haven't we? But I think sometimes I just get into a love of a particular colour. I need to get back to some of those colour challenges that I set you for picking my colours, because that really took me outside of my crafting comfort zone. Might do a bit of misty moonlight in the first generation in these little tiny stars, because they're rather nice. So essentially I'm just sort of filling in some of those little white gaps really that are around the place. Don't have to do it an awful lot. But quite simply. So start with the bigger stamps and then get smaller. It makes oh, I'm loving those colours. Loving, loving, loving. I might just add some of those. Starting to, oh, I've managed to, that was a bit of a faux pas in that corner. That's not a disaster though. It's not a problem. Be a bit too big for an excuse for an embellishment, but we can, as we're doing a one sheet wonder, chop it off potentially. So don't ever throw a wobbly and trash anything. So I'm thinking maybe a little bit of Highland heather around. We've gone very blue at the edges, haven't we? I'm going to clean that off before I start using that again, because that has got quite inky, so it's being very careful to just very lightly dab so we don't get too much ink around the place. So slightly dab those. And just bring some of that Highland heather out of it. I'm going to stop. Let's get the stamps out of the way for now. I'm also going to shut the inks up until we've decided on our card bases. Hi Lynn, hope you are well. Just closing up all the inks just to save me, so I've already got a stray ink blob in that corner. Let's not get any more stray ink blobs, so we'll get all the inky stamps out of the way. And we'll get our, so I am going to stick with standard card bases. So we'll cut this in half at 10.5. Immediately that's going to completely change the way that looks. Then I'm going to take that down to 14.4. I'm literally just going to pop it straight onto a card base. The reason I am doing the 14.4 on both of those is this little strip is quite good for inside the card. And the other thing we need to consider is actually, I needed to have done that at 10, but The other thing is that little piece will be used for decoration. Then the greetings, I've lost my stamp. See these, so we've got the snowflake wishes. Now that might go nicely across there, mightn't it? So we probably want something that's slightly longer. That one might work quite well. Oh, no problem, Carol. Thanks for catching up. I hope you've planned something lovely for your tea. I'm going out for dinner, so I'm actually, what I'm going to do here is, actually I'm going to cut it off. Actually, I'm not going to cut it off the whole thing because I want to just only get rid of that corner, don't I? I'm going to cut a ½ centimetre strip. Why I've got those little strips will make sense very shortly. So these are being cut to fit onto a standard card base, but obviously I have that error, so got an error in that corner. So this 14, I'm going to cut it off that end. I've still got that little issue in that corner, but we might need to mask that with a stamp. Now, of course, the other thing we need to do is consider, I've got to put one on Seaside spray, I think. You can immediately see the different card bases completely change the way it looks. Should we do one on the pale? Pale colours? Or should we have one on the Misty Moonlight? But look how much that changes that. Might go Misty Moonlight. Yeah, I've sort of taken the colours from the Snowflake papers and then added a few. I'm going a bit alternative Christmas in my colouring. This year I am kind of keeping away from those more traditional reds and greens. No particular reason why, but probably because the papers influenced me. The designer series papers kind of influence my colour choices. So 14.9, 10.5 on a card base. So literally that is going to sit directly. So this is the simplest way. We're not adding any paper, designer series paper or layers. Literally just adding that on directly to the card base. But what you can see is the difference the card base colour that I choose makes. And what I am going to try as well is embossing one of these as well to see how that looks. So the way I've stamped it obviously lends itself to me for being in a landscape, and I have my weird thing with the greeting being the same colour as the card base. So I think, oh, my stamps aren't in there. What I'm thinking is Snowflake Wishes fits rather well because, what does that one say? In the coldest moments of the year, my heart is warm because you're near. Our friendship is one of a kind. Snowflake Wishes. Thank you so much. May your seasons sparkle. Oh, that might be quite nice. Where's that one? May your seasons sparkle. Let's see how that might lend itself to a couple of those. Yes, let's use those two. Oh, because that one, because of the way that's fallen, that, oh, look, that's almost like I planned it. Let's do this one first. I think I might do a bit of surreptitious extra stamping. So this is going on Coastal Cabana. So I'd say all that would need is a bit of seasonal sparkle. And then I'm going to use the same one on this one, but we have that little error in the corner, so we're on Misty Moonlight. What we're going to do, because there are no such things as errors, nothing gets thrown away in the craft room, well, unless it's a really small bit of paper. So I'm going to pop the sentiment there, and then I'm going to take that stamp set and pop some snowflakes in the corner. Who said there was an issue? Nobody. If you hadn't have watched that, you would never have known, would you? There's always ways to mask things that we've done. So don't throw things away. It's because of a small imperfection. So we'll just, this I think I'm going to put slightly further over that way. Again, that possibly lends itself to have some little sparkles around the place. But let's try. Seaside Spray. God, my desk was a mess before I started this live. It looks quite horrendous now. So there we go. That's, looks like I've had a sherry too many. Now all I need to do is find it's under there. So what I'm going to do, should we try it on that one that we've done all sorts of different things on? So let's try it on one and see how it looks. So this is the Snowflake embossing folder. So excuse me while I come round to my need to just work out my plates. I've got the new Stampin' Cut, so I'm still getting my head around which plates I need for which layers. There's a special plate for the more dynamic embossing folders. Oh, can you see how that just adds, oh, I rather like, should we do, let's do this slightly drunken one, it might help mask the slightly drunken. Let's do two with and two without, and we will see what you think. Oh, fab. So because I've embossed those, oh well, that's a good use of a traffic jam, I'd say, Carol. It's just sitting there doing nothing. Thank you for joining me. So I've used the wet glue on the basis that that is embossed. Oh, a bit too much wet glue there. Oh, all over my hands. And what happens when, oh. I always have a pack of baby wipes to hand in my craft room. As I do think I'm at times the world's messiest crafter. So on this one I'm using Stampin' Seal. It's flat, so I don't feel I need the additional, although the Stampin' Seal Plus is extremely strong, so it probably would work on that embossed background. However, I do just like to make sure so the glue just gets down into those bits of embossing. Just put a general bit of glue all over the place, remembering that it spreads. That onto the card base. Obviously the advantage of the glue as well is it gives us that little bit of wriggle room. Once your tape's on and you've put it on your card, you're pretty snookered. So that's another 4 Christmas cards, quite simply and easily. Whoops, Daisy, nearly stuck that on the wrong way round. So I've done 2 in the kind of landscape, well they're all in landscape, but 2 are with the thin side and 2 with the longer side, so same measurements, just different cuts and scores. Do that. So yeah, that the way I did that just lent itself to that. And then these little bits that I cut off, absolutely perfect for adding inside the card. Now I am going to use glue on that because the tape is too wide, or the tape I have is too wide. I haven't got my glasses on, so I can't see where I've put the glue either. So what I'm going to do is just pop that there. So just watch the angle with the glue. We've got that little bit of wriggle room, so I can adjust it slightly as needed. leave that open so we don't glue our cards together, because that would be a disaster. So again, on this one I'm going to need a longer piece, because I'm going to put it all the way across the bottom. Actually, I'm going to trim that slightly because I want to make sure I don't overuse, because I want to hopefully have 2 bits, although I might just cut that slightly wrong. So again, glue way too much at that end. Just needs the slightest run of glue across. This is going to be a little bit over glued, I think. Just be mindful of that. So again, just popping that on, a little bit of wriggle room, make sure it's straight. On this card we'll do it down the, actually I might use, I'm going to use the one that reflects the way the card is as well. So as I say, because I've not put any DSP or anything, I've just cut those kind of a little ½ centimetre or slightly more than, oops, so Daisy was going to put it up that way. So I've got those little pieces offcuts. Let's not waste those offcuts. They coordinate with the cards, so it's very easy. Ooh. So I'll just put one more. Let's just see if that fits across the width. It should hopefully just. Cut a little bit too much off on that other one. So again, thin bit of glue. Got that bit of wriggle room, so we can just make sure that that's central to the card. So there you go. So we have embossed background, open, and you've got that little strip there. Again, this one's another embossed background, slightly wider strip put in. That was a strip cut off from the edge of one of them, so it reflects the stamping on the card. So then that's not stamped. All we need to do is just literally turn to the back of the card, trim your scissors to the edge of the card, the easiest way to trim that off. So again, just adds a nice little touch to the inside of the card. That's very gluey, so we need to be very careful when we put that bit. A bit crazy with the glue on that one, I think. And then we've got that in there. So there you go, one piece of One Sheet Wonder, all in the same colours, but all the different colours are really brought out by the different colours of card base that I've chosen there. And you've got that little bit of detail on the inside. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care of yourselves. Bye.